Yo, what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, Axis Rotation, however the flip you know me on these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into our HCS Open at DreamHack in beautiful Dallas, Texas, this upcoming weekend, May 23rd through 25th. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the intro as always. Sorry, I just had to clear my throat for a second. But I just wanted to get into everything a little bit differently this time. So, as you guys can see here, all the different broadcast times based on your region. If you want a second, based on where you are on this beautiful planet, just give this a quick pause and check this out. So, this is our schedule. Just so you guys know, I live on the East Coast, Beast Coast, you know what it is. So, I'll be doing everything in EST, but you can just convert it to your local time using whatever time difference you know. So the tournament starts at my time around 12:40. So it starts about 1 o'clock my time. The first matchup of the day, where we have Faze taking on Cloud9, and then Nemesis taking on Omit. So those should be some pretty fun ones. I will get into the rosters in just 1 second. Just bear with me here. Just looking at the early schedule, the first couple days should be really fun. So we got some banger matches. Rebellion versus Nemesis, that should be a good one. Optic Gen G should be fun. Ryan Noob and the boys. Optic TSM should be interesting. Manny, Soul Snipe, those guys, they always have upset potential. So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Here is the full schedule for the event. I just like to get through all the housekeeping stuff. These are the teams that are sponsored to go the HCS. They just got, their travel paid for. So that's cool. And then these are all of our teams who secured pools and their respective seeds. So Optic first, Shopify second, Faze third, Space Station is seed number 4, Envy seed 5, Cloud9 6, Nemesis 7, TSM is seed 8, Genji is seed 9, Omit is seed 10, Zero Tenacity is seed 11, and of course Complexity is seed 12. So the remaining 4 teams will be coming from the open bracket. They will qualify through there. But I did want to go through all the roster changes that happened in the wake of our last event, which of course was HCS Major 1, which is also in Texas. Don't get confused. Bear with me. Yeah, so the only move that happened really during the event was Zero Tenacity picking up Jimbo, Mighty, Sika, and Chick. And then post-event, Descendant got dropped from Triggers Down, Cherish got dropped from TSM, Morley got dropped by LG, and Pantho got dropped by BH3. Then Precision got dropped by Cole, which was kind of interesting. Precision was one of their better players, so everybody's a little shocked by this. Lethal left Triggers Down to go to Cloud9, along with Sab, Boo Boo Doo and the boys. Manny left Cloud9 with Sab and Boo Boo Doo to go to TSM, reunite with Cherish. Cherish got dropped. Soul Snipe, Talik, and Druck. So he's trying to chase that success that they had a couple of years ago in Infinite. I respect it, Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So anyways, Piggy and Yoxin both got dropped by LG. Of course, LG picked up the Luminosity team, so that's not really a big surprise. Huss got dropped by Complexity, which was kind of surprising. But Huss and Mortally both got picked up by Omit, so Huss landed on his feet, which is good to see. Cherished also landed on his feet. He went to Complexity, which is awesome to see for Cherished. Hated to see him get dropped and not know where he was going. Triggers Down also looks like they just disbanded. So Hoaxer, of course, went to Omit, and Collect and Ezo also went to Omit, along with, who else was there, right? Huss and Morley. Okay. So Neuronical, Envy, Jazero, and Diagram all got picked up by Luminon, and then Jagged Cloud is their coach. And then the last move, of course, is Precision, Descendant, Piggy, and Yoxin getting picked up by Envy. That's the most recent move that happened about 10 days ago at time of recording. So those are all the recent roster moves. Just wanted to get you guys up to date on who our current teams are before we get into my expectations for the pools. It's nice that they were able to, give us this visual for the pools. I really appreciate that. So Optic, I believe, is going to be the top seed coming out of this pool. Not really insane to say, right? But it's really going to be a battle for second place between commonly Ryan Noob, King Nick, and Breaking Shot on the Gen G side versus Manny, Druck, Talik, and Soul Snipe on the TSM side. I feel like this Gen G team is very good. They're sneaky good. But the thing is, with King Nick and Ryan Noob, that duo has been playing together for a long time on E United and multiple other teams. I don't know, man. They have a lot of upset potential. Sometimes they get the upsets, sometimes they don't. But against these 4, Manny, Soul Snipe, Druck, Talik, I don't know, man. Those guys look disgusting when they were on Cloud9 and on the different iterations that they played for, right? Like, that 4 is nasty. Now that they're back together, I feel like they have a lot of potential to be really good. So I'm going to favor TSM here. I'm going to say Optic, TSM, Gen G, 1, 2, 3 for Pool A. Shopify, Nemesis, and Omit. Let's check out the teams, right? So Shopify, as you guys know, is Cycle, Last Shot, Royal 2, Frosty, Investments, Coach. And then Nemesis, Woodham, SLG, Snipe Drone, and Glory. I feel like they'll get second place in the group, but this Omit team, I feel like they could be pretty good with Collect, Huss, Ezo, and Mortally. I'm going to go with the safe pick. I'm going to say EU Supremacy here. I'm going to say Shopify, Nemesis, top 2, Omit, 3rd, and then Losers Bracket, 4th place. So Pool C, Faze Clan, easy number 1. Trippy and the boys. Nobody's expectations were really as high as their performance has been. But yeah, they've been exceeding pretty much everyone's expectations for how they would look. So I think Faze take top of this group. Cloud9, that team has changed recently. Lethal, Septify, Boo Boo Doo and Sab. I like that team a lot. I'm not going to lie. Jimbo, Chick, Mighties, and Sika. I feel like with Cloud9, it looks like they brought Lethal in as a leadership kind of play. I don't know why I said leadership so weird. Leadership play. So I like that for them. I think it bodes well. Lethal's been getting his kills also in the last couple of years. I have to say, as far as old men going esports, Lethal is making all of us over the age of 23 or 24, 25 look phenomenal. So shout out to that boy, Tony Lethal. And I think Cloud9 will take the second seed in this group. And I think Zero Tenacity gets third seed. Now, final seed. Final pool, Pool D. I'm very unsure of what to expect here. This Incognito team versus Complexity, both have made changes. Neither one of these teams really look very similar to how they looked at the previous event in their previous iterations, right? Like this team was, I believe, most of the former Envy team, and then Descendant and Ezo were on a team with Collect. That was Triggers Down. So yeah, this is a hodgepodge of different teams. You got 2 people from the old Luminosity team, Piggy and Yaxon. Then you got Descendant, like I said, coming from Triggers Down, where he's playing with Ezo and Collect. Then you got Precision, who's coming from Complexity. A lot of cooks in the kitchen. This might be a good hodgepodge team. I don't know, man. Complexity. We're going to go with the Complexity upset again. Cherish got a chip on his shoulder. Avuchi got dropped, if I'm saying his name right. I'm going to go with the Complexity upset again. Back-to-back events, back-to-back Complexity upsets. I believe my GOAT, Billy Mental. Why not? Let's do it. Let's ride, guys. So, if you are keeping track, I'm thinking Optic, TSM, Gen G. I'm thinking that the seeding is pretty accurate to how these are going to play up until we get to Pool D, and I think Complexity gets the lone upset in all these pools. Now, let's get into my bracket. So, as you guys can see, Gen G and TSM are 2 teams that I was thinking are coming out of the Pool A side, so they're not going to match up in the bracket, but just bear with me. I have to make this bracket myself, so it's not always going to be perfect, you know? Do I reseed these guys? I don't know how to do that. Anyways, let's just use this as a general idea because I like to use these as the elimination games to get into the bracket, the head-to-head games. That's my thought process. So basically, I'm thinking TSM here, obviously. I'm thinking 3-2 for those boys. Yeah, I think that's how they get it done. Complexity versus Envy again. Are they in the same pool? Yeah, they are. All right. So, all right. I just explained this. I'm so tired. Long day of work, and like, this is my 4th video of the day that I've worked on. So yeah, I'm grinding for you guys. Just know that. So, this is how the brackets would face up for winners round 1. Who do we have getting through? We had Cloud9 over Zero Tenacity. Yeah, Cloud9 over Zero Tenacity. Okay, so Manny and the boys, I'm thinking they get a 3-1 over the EU side. Nemesis versus Omit. This should be a fun one, but I'm thinking EU stands tall with a 3-2. And now we're into our proper bracket. So I don't think this is how these should shake out because these would be teams coming from their respective pools, but why not, right? So realistically, it should be, I guess, Optic versus Nemesis, right? That would make sense. And then probably Shopify versus TSM, Faze versus Complexity, and Cloud9 versus Space Station. So just flip some of these around a little bit. This is just because, you know, they don't give us pick'ems, so I'm just doing my own thing. I'm going to say Optic gets the game clinching win. This kind of makes sense, though, because these teams probably would be going head-to-head in the bracket. Like, Shopify and SSG went head-to-head. It was just because Optic lost the deciding matchup to Nemesis on Friday, so they ended up getting a lower seed. They ended up playing Shopify round 1 because they were seed 2 of pool 1. So that makes sense, actually. And we're going to say Space Station get a hot 3-1 over Complexity. We're going to say that Faze get a 3-1 over Cloud. We'll say 3-2. That's a very, very dangerous squad. And then for the Nemesis Shopify series, I feel like this will be closer than expected. So we'll say game 5 Shopify. Then let's go to the lower bracket. Let's start scripting some lower bracket matches because those will be playing before we finish the winners bracket, surely. So where do we start? Let's go with the lowest seeded team, Complexity versus Zero Tenacity. I think it's going to be 3-2 for Complexity, just because you get into elimination bracket, everybody plays with their back up against the wall. Cloud9, Manny and the boys, Talik, Soul Snipe, Druck. Yeah, I think that foursome is going to be dangerous now that they're reunited, and it feels so good for them, right? So Nemesis, I'm thinking a similar thing. I'm thinking that they're going to get a tight, well, let's say 3-1. I think they're a little bit better than that Cloud9 squad. I think this Gen G squad. I think this Cloud9 squad is probably going to match up with this NB squad pretty well. That's why I like this game 5. Complexity and Zero Tenacity. The Zero Tenacity guys are some of the best EU players, so going up against, respectfully, a lesser NA team, I expect that to go to 5. And then we have TSM versus Omit to finish the day off. Who's on both of these teams? Because they both made roster changes. Okay, so TSM is Druck, Soul Snipe, Manny, and Trey. Wait, I had this wrong the whole time. Septify, Stab, Boobadoob, and Lethal's Cloud9. I'm tripping. Good thing I checked this because these teams have changed and it's fried my brain, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, 3-2 over MB. That's still fair. TSM versus Omit. Omit is Collect's team, right? I think that's right. Collect, Ezo, Huss, Immortally. I like that team, but I don't like them more than TSM. So we'll say TSM game 4. Now, we will have Nemesis taking on Cloud9. I think this should be a pretty easy Nemesis dub, if I'm being honest with you guys. I think that Cloud9 will play them pretty tight. I think it'll probably be a 3-1 for Nemesis. I just feel like Nemesis is one of our better teams, and I feel like they may or may not go to losers bracket, but if they do, I feel like everybody's going to be, praying. So I think the TSM, speaking of teams that are going to be praying, I think they're going to pray on Complexity here with a pretty decisive 3-1. I feel like that team of Manny, Talik, Soul Snipe, and Druck, I feel like they're a little bit better than people are going to expect them to be. And yeah, that's why I like that team to get through. Optic versus Lucid and the SSG boys running it back. They played last event. Went very decisively the way of Optic. I'm not sure what it is about this SSG team. I really expect it to be a really good team with Stellar, Lucid, Snakebite, and Eco. I didn't think they would ever have any issues slaying. All 4 of those guys are phenomenal slayers, as we all know. So just a little surprised to see that they're not as good as we expect as of yet, but maybe it's a comp thing. Who knows? So that's why I think it'll be Optic 3-1. I feel like after that Major 1 win, I don't see them losing a step. Unless another team just plays that well, right? But that's not them losing a step. That's just another team performing to their best potential. Now, speaking of teams performing to their best potential, I think that the Shopify Rebellion boys come out of here with a hot 3-2 over Faze. I feel like they're just a little bit better than Faze right now. I mean, they 3-0'd them last event, so why not, right? So that would mean we have Faze Optic versus Shopify in the winners finals in my proposed bracket, like always. Then we have Faze taking on TSM. I think Faze are going to skill diff Manny and the boys. I think we're going to end the Cinderella story. And I think a similar thing for SSG with Nemesis here. Even though I do like Nemesis to potentially get an upset, I think SSG with the championship pedigree that they have, it's just not very smart to say that they're going to lose that one, right? So that means I'm going to start with winners finals, actually. I think Optic, they, after beating SSG, will know how they want to play against them, and I don't think they'll allow themselves to go down as easily as they did in the last series in winners finals, winners round 1. And if there was no Nemesis slip up at the last event, right, they wouldn't have been playing winners round 1. So things could have gone very differently. Who cares? They won, but could have gone differently, right? So SSG versus Faze. I think that Trippy and Penguin versus their former teammate Lucid, of course, 3 members of Optic Gaming last year. And of course, Snakebite going up against his old org and Faze clan and his former coach, must be said, in Royal One, who has recently been picked up for the Faze side. I think it'll be a Space Station win. They got to get some momentum going at some point. I do think Faze is the better. No, we're going to rock with Trippy. Big game trip. We're rocking with Trippy. I'm sorry, guys. I just haven't seen enough from Space Station to really. They did win an online event recently. I'll give it to them. Just because they have to turn around at some point. I'm going to believe in Snakebite. I mean, the guy has 3 rings. Lethal. Lucid, he has a ring. Stellar has a ring. And of course, Eco has a ring. I mean, they have 2 rings. So, yeah, you cannot count those guys out. Eco has 2? 3? He won with Splice, Shotzi, Renegade, one with SSG. I think that's 3. Okay. Yeah, because they won with Renegade, right? Yeah, that should be 3. All right. off topic. I'll edit and correct myself if that's wrong. But anyways, let's see how the winners finals goes down. I think it's going to be an Optic 3-2, like I said. I think Optic, they will know how they want to play this one. I think Shopify is obviously the favorite to get back to the grand finals to face Optic again and to try to hoist. But I feel like Optic is the better team right now. And in this matchup against SSG, I feel like it's not going to be that close. I feel like Shopify, they're going to be pissed if Optic send them to the losers bracket. And I think they'll come back with a vengeance. So I think if Optic get to winners from, I'm sorry, if they get to the grand finals from winners, I think they win 4-2. If not, I think they win in a best of 7 reset, probably winning 4-3. So we'll add a set. The extra one, I think they'll win 4-3 again, and then we'll say that. But we'll get rid of the extra set because I don't want that. Okay. So we'll reset that. We'll do 3-1 for Optic again, and then we will say a 4-2 in the grand finals. Actually, Shopify's a great team. 4-3. I think Optic only allows one best of 5. I think they come from winners this time, and I think that's how they get it done. I think that's how our HCS bracket finishes. I just locked it in. Shout out to Farouk, the GOAT of Gears. Shout out to Guy Blaze, too. So shout out to everyone who's watched all year long. This is the last video that I'll be posting within the CDL season. So after this, it's all HCS for the summer, guys. So hope you have a great morning, noon, or night wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. Don't forget to pull up to the watch party. I got Halo and COD on deck. Going to be an amazing weekend full of great times, great people, and great action. So see you guys there. Like I said, hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, like I said before. Hopefully Optic can go back to back. That'd be amazing. And yeah, catch you guys in the next video. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News Exhortation. Now I'll see you on the next one. Peace.